Welcome to Enlightened Connections, a space for intuition, healing, and remembering what connects us. I'm Lisa Aston Michael. If you'd like to continue these conversations, follow on Spotify and stay with us. Welcome. Thank you once again for tuning in to Enlightened Connections. And my special guest this week is Holly Burns. Holly is a psychic medium and intuitive channel with over 19 years' experience. She serves as an open channel to what she calls the all-knowing realm, a universal field of consciousness that includes all souls, human and non-human, across time and space. Holly's worked in partnership with her spiritual guides known as the Elders, and also with the consciousness of Jesus, bringing through guidance that supports clarity, healing, and spiritual awakening. Through the Akashic Records, Holly offers insight into past, present, and future timelines, helping clients align with their highest potential. Her work bridges intuition, the physics of energy, the conscious creation of all. Holly is also a contributing author to Clear Vessels and Sasquatch America, and shares her work online as Holly Burns Psychic. So welcome, Holly. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You are so very welcome. It's wonderful to have you here. I've got a lot to go through and talk to you about, but I want to start with you describe yourself as an open channel to the all-knowing realm, a universal field of consciousness that includes all souls, human and non-human. How did you first come to understand and trust this connection? And what does that realm feel like when you're accessing it?
Well, I first worked for 10 years with just the elders, not knowing that I could do the same thing with any soul in the universe, living or dead. And so I was very comfortable with that frequency of working with them. And then I had a party with people I had to do readings for. And they started asking me, all the guests at the parties, all of them started asking me questions about their dead loved ones. And no one even asked me if I could talk to dead people or anything. Like, they didn't ask if I was a medium. And I was like, okay, I gotta get paid for this party. So I gotta do this because I had just started this work and I didn't have very much money at all at the time. And I'm like, oh boy, I really need to keep this gig. I can't just go, well, I can't talk to dead people. I'll see you guys later. Plus, I didn't want to just disappoint them either, right? And it was a big party. There was like, I don't know, like 10 people there, and they were all relatives of each other. And they all wanted to talk to the same dead relatives. So it became Holly's debut as a medium. and so I just like, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to shuffle my cards and I'm going to ask a question to the person that we need to talk to and let them pull the card. It just kind of came to me like that. And then I pulled the card and I'm like, oh, this is just the same as talking to the elders, except it's this other person. And then I grew to really love it. Like, I really love doing it now for people. What happens to me now is I kind of channel the essence of the whole person that I'm talking to, like their personality. I kind of become kind of a body channel for them as well. And I'll be like, I'll go like this with my glasses and I'll be like, oh, that's not me. I just do it without thinking it. And then I realize, wait a minute, I just did something that wasn't my own mannerism. So then I point it out or like, I'll be like, if I'm talking to an old woman, many times they'll be like this and I'll be like, oh, that's not me. That's them rocking. So it's just great. I just really get to visit all these cool people and get to meet all these cool people. Feels like vibrationally it just feels serene. It feels like serenity when I speak with that realm. And everybody in that realm is all-knowing when it comes to things on earth. So I call it the all-knowing realm because I want people to understand that their dead loved ones become all-knowing as soon as they cross the veil.
Okay, it sounds to me like mediumship just found you really as a natural course of events.
Yeah, like I didn't know I was, but then I am. And the elders always joke and say, well, we're dead too.
Yeah. It's a funny word, dead, isn't it? Because when you are connecting with the spirit realm, whether it's guides or those that have crossed over, they're not dead. So it's very hard to sort of
right.
use that
Right.
word, "These are dead people." Well, no, we're not. We're still here. We're still functioning. We're still going. We just don't have that body anymore, and the spirit guides,
Right.
of course, are the same, right? They can talk and do
Yeah.
their thing, and the knowledge that's shared is absolutely phenomenal, what we can learn down here, or not down here,
Yeah.
I mean, they're everywhere, aren't they, really? But it sounds to me like it just occurred naturally. I mean, most mediums I speak to have had they end up having years and years of training, and yet you talk to other mediums and it just seems to occur naturally. It just happens. You just say, "Okay, well,
Yeah.
this is what I wanna do. Here's my intention,"
Well,
and
I knew I
and then
could
they
do it, I
come.
just didn't try. I didn't know I could do it, but I know now looking back on it that if I can speak with the elders, I could speak with any other soul the same way. But I didn't know it. I wasn't trying and failing. I wasn't even trying at all. I didn't even think about it. I just thought I have a connection to these all-knowing elders. I didn't even consider talking to anybody else for the first 10 years. But then when I tried, I could do it the same as I could speak with them. So I did have 10 years of practice before I tried speaking with other souls.
Right, right.
So I had that practice. And also I had my whole life of practice because every being on the earth is a medium. And
Yeah,
if you're a living being, you are a medium because all a medium is getting energy from what some people think you're getting energy from a particular soul that's not in a physical body. Well, everybody does that with their spirit guide and their higher self all day long.
yeah, and we are spirit, right? We're spirit
Yeah,
anyway, having a
like
human experience,
yeah,
so it makes sense. I agree
yeah.
with you,
So
it makes
I don't
sense.
make a big deal out of the title medium, like I'm some special person compared to other people, because I'm not. Everybody has these skills, and the elders just said, and all the dead people in the universe just said, yeah, and we talk to our relatives too. Like all of our relatives that know we're around. Oh, mom just said hi to me this morning.
Yeah,
I saw that cardinal on the tree, and I knew it was dad saying hello.
yeah,
It's called being a regular human. I
yeah,
just happen to do it for a job, so I practice talking to other people's humans and other people's dogs and people I don't have my own connection to.
yeah.
That's the only difference.
When did you first come in connection with the elders? How did that come about?
They started talking to me in 2006. Well, in 2005, my spirit guide said, "Holly," and whispered, "Holly," outside my ear. And I turned around and there was nobody there. And I'm like, "Who was that?" And so a year later, I went to an expo here in Minneapolis that was a conscious life expo type thing. And there was going to be all kinds of psychics. And I heard a psychic on the radio say she was going to be there. And I liked her a lot. She's a local, kind of a famous, well known local psychic. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to her. I'm going to get a reading at this expo and find out who said Holly in my ear. And so I went to the expo and ended up talking to a different person. But that person said, that was your spirit guide. And I said, my spirit, what? I didn't even know that word. I'd never even heard that term before in my life. And so that started, the light switched on, and my spirit guide, the elders, started talking to me 24/7, but I didn't really know the elders were a thing at first. I was like talking to my spirit guide and working with him. And then I would have like this group that would like chime in and make comments. And the way they do it is they would make stuff jump out to me. I'm driving in my car. I'm listening to the radio. They would make 2 words of the sentence jump out. Like they re-energize it and they hit you with a telepathic boost of energy at the same time as those words are being said. I call it jumping out. And they would do that all day long and I kind of ignored who they were. And I'm just after a while I'm like, who is that doing that? I
Mm,
better start kind of maybe recognizing and paying attention to these other groups besides just my spirit guide. There's somebody else in addition to my spirit guide that's talking here all day long.
mm.
So that was around 2006 to 2007. And then after that, it's just been the elders the whole time and my spirit guide kind of melded in with them and now they're kind of just this group that speaks 24/7.
That doesn't disturb you that they're always there all
No,
the time?
mm-mm, no, no,
Do
I'm
they
like,
disturb you when you're sleeping?
oh, I've lost countless hours of sleep because of them waking me up and then telling me something and I have to write it down. I don't do that as much now, but when I first started my journey, they would work with me night and day, and they would wake me up and there'd be a song playing in my head. I'm like, "Okay, this is important. I have to remember this tomorrow morning." So I'd write it down on a piece of paper. And my spirit guide also worked with me in the astral dimension when I was sleeping, and I would go to class, like, have lessons with him then as well. So some days I would wake up thinking, "I didn't even sleep last night." I felt like
Wow.
I didn't. I was, but I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I was because I was working and stuff in the astral dimension, and I was cognizant of that, so I would just kinda feel like, wow, there was so much going on there. I feel like I didn't even get a wink of sleep, but I
Yeah.
did. It just
It
felt like I didn't.
I know what you're saying. It sometimes feels like we have a busier life in the astral than we do here. It's like most
Yeah,
people go to bed at night and go to sleep and have a good sleep and wake up the next morning. But for some of us, and I go through what you go through, it's like I don't want to close my eyes and go to sleep because I know I'm just about to start a whole new ball game somewhere else,
right.
doing something else, getting involved in something else and sorting out something else. And it's like, oh, where are we going tonight? But,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard yards. I know it's hard yards, and particularly for you, you hear all the time. Most of us have heard something or felt something, but to have that going all the time, that would drive me nuts. I think you do really well to just work with that all the time and keep your sanity because it's pretty full on. It's pretty full on.
I think you would do it all the time too. You're just not aware of it. You do it all the time. You listen, your higher self and your spirit guides are nudging you with telepathic thoughts all day long. You just don't realize because they're more subtle.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
hit you more subtly
yeah,
than the elders actually really clairaudiently saying things in my head.
yeah.
But that's how we function as people. That's what keeps you alive is this constant connection back and forth. Is if you became more aware of it, it would start to magnify, and then you would realize, oh yeah, there's my spirit team's talking to me all day long too. It's just if you don't focus on it, you probably don't catch it.
You're right, and I think it's the monkey mind that gets in the way, so many conscious thoughts that never stop. It just blocks it, doesn't it? It doesn't allow for that, and as you say, the messages from the other realms are so incredibly subtle. They're not like our monkey mind that says, "Oh, what have I got to do now? I've got to go to the shop today. I've got to get my car fixed." These sort of really conscious, in your face thoughts that just don't stop. But I guess that's why, it's at nighttime or when you're asleep or when you're in that rest state, that's when they can come forward the most in the most beautiful way, I feel. You've worked in partnership with your guides, known as the elders, for nearly 2 decades. And you also work with Jesus. Now, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful. I'll tell you why in a moment. But for you, how do these presences show up in your sessions? Well, you've already told me about how the elders show up to you, but how do they differ in the guidance that they bring? Your experience with Jesus, your experience with the elders, your experience with guides, do they come forward in a different way? Do they bring you something different? Or is it very a common kind of experience?
They have very different vibrational signatures, but they all teach exactly the same thing. The Bible is consciousness coaching, but people don't get it. They so misinterpret the messages in there. His message, Jesus' message and Mary Magdalene's messages have always been the same messages that aliens, if you listen to people that channel alien messages on YouTube, the Palladians and Bashar and Abraham Hicks and any otherworldly beings, they all teach exactly the same thing. Which really, that's what I really got out of it. After a few years of doing this, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is the foundational teaching of how to be on Earth. Because this universe is based on love. I just found out recently there's other universes where love is not the ultimate lesson. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
But it is
Wow.
on this universe. This universe's ultimate lesson is we are all one and to love like Source and find your way back to the love of Source. But there's other universes where that's not the main goal.
You know something really interesting? I was raised in a Catholic church and, of course, preached at about Jesus. And Jesus to me was always like someone from the DC comics. He was this larger than life, separate from, untouchable, perfection above humanity, perfection about and to me, my understanding of reverence as a child in the Catholic Church was to bow and scrape to this person that was like Charlie Sheen, some big superstar thing, And I don't mean any irreverence by what I'm saying. I'm just trying to describe what my perception of Jesus was. And I read the Bible. Of course, you do a Catholic school that you're pretty much beaten over the head with it. But it wasn't until I learnt from the spiritualist understanding and from Silver Birch about who Jesus was, really, what he spoke about. And once you understand the spirit realm, you understand the parables. It's the key that
Right.
unlocks what he was on about, right?
If you understand the consciousness teachings, then everything he says in the Bible makes
Yeah,
perfect sense. And people that aren't awake and aware, they're totally misinterpreting the Bible.
yes, yes. You're the first person that I have actually been able to talk to about that.
Really?
Because, yeah, I
Cool.
swear, all honesty, Holly, I swear. I thought it was just me. I thought, hang on, I'm going to read that piece of scripture again. Boom, I got it. If, I take myself back to childhood, I read it and it's like, oh, here's this Jesus person, that could fly like an angel from the resurrection. And what happened in the cave and how did he move that rock? I didn't get any of it. Lazarus I didn't get any of it.
Right.
It was all DC comic stuff, right?
Right. Right.
But now it's like, ah, I get
Yeah.
it. It's about vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
It's about the ability to manifest. It's unbelievable once you
Yeah.
understand, as you say, the
Yeah.
consciousness of the spirit realm.
It's teaching law of attraction. That's what it's I should specify even that. The Bible is a big law of attraction teacher.
Yeah, but you don't get it while you're reading it from a third dimensional perspective.
Unless you understand that. If you understand how to manifest, when you read the Bible, you'll understand what Jesus was really teaching. But if you don't get it, which 99% of the people don't understand the physics of manifestation, they don't understand the physics of the universe and how manifestation actually works. So then they don't understand what he's saying.
Right,
When
right.
Jesus said, "The way to my Father is through me,"
Yeah.
he didn't mean bow down to me and worship me and give your life to Jesus in order to go to heaven.
No.
He meant through emulating my frequency.
Boom.
The way to the Father is by emulating my frequency of consciousness, which is way higher than yours, by the way, people, you know?
Yeah. And I often think to myself, I'm thinking about what we're entering into now in these times that we're in now. It's all kind of pre-written in a sense. And also that statement about the second coming. For me, and this is only for me personally, I feel the second coming is this awakening of humanity, not necessarily a physical human being arriving at a bus stop somewhere, but it's more about our awakening. That's how we get through to the divine, exactly how you've just explained it. If we can get it, if we can catch on as to what Jesus actually means and we wake up to it, that is the second coming. That is our opportunity to do so. But that's my perspective.
Okay, answer back. Okay, here's my answer back. Jesus, as you were talking, said, well, that was what the first coming was about, too. Okay, so the first coming and the second coming are both about that.
Right.
But he will be back. There's the physical Jesus and Mary are coming back, though. But they're going to teach the same thing they taught the first time, which is consciousness teachings, which is people, do your work, raise your consciousnesses, and you can connect back with source energy, which is what you are a part of. You're down here across the veil of amnesia, work your way back. That's the lesson of Earth. Come down
Right.
here and find your way back to who you are, who you really are.
Right. Perfect.
So they're not here, they're not coming to save us. And they didn't save he didn't come to save us the first time either. He came to teach us these things so that we can kind of know what the game plan is for Earth, what we're supposed to be doing down here, the purpose of incarnating.
Well, I certainly hope that we've caught on to it by now because we're in the sticky bit and we've got limited time to sort this stuff out. Brilliant conversation. Thank you so much, Holly. I'm going to move on a little bit. If there's anything you want to say more about that part of the conversation we've just had, please do. Please do.
I'm aligned. I'm aligned.
Good. Okay, so if we can take a little step in a slightly different direction, let's have a look at the Akashic records and timelines here. So when you access the Akashic records and you speak about past, present, and future timelines, how fixed are those timelines? Like, do you see destiny as predetermined, or is there room for conscious choice and redirection?
I always see multiple futures. Always. Every single time. But some of them are kind of, I call it nuclear reactive. Some of them are much more probable to manifest, and some of them don't have any energy at all. That's how I test people when they're like, "What's the outcome going to be of this, Holly? Am I going to get this job, or am I ever going to move to California?" And I'll test the energy of the future trajectory where they get to move to California, and then I'll test the trajectory of if they don't ever get to go to California, and I can weigh the differences in those two trajectories and say, this one over here is very active. I totally feel you're going to make it happen. It's really in the process of being manifested right now. You've done a lot of groundwork on this trajectory, and it's ready to become physical pretty soon over here. It feels good. Or I'll be like, I'll get like a big barrier, like a nope, that ain't
Yeah.
happening anytime soon. And it's like some people are like, they'll come to me and they'll give me like 15 health problems. Oh, and they're just dump them all on me at the same time. And I can't do this because I have this, and I can't do that because I have this problem. And I can't sleep, and I can't go out, and I can't work, and I can't walk, and I can't eat right, and I can't do any of those things. And if it's can't, the elders are just like, you know, barrier, 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 barrier. And I test the energy of that trajectory. I'm just like, whoa, that's a deep hole. It's a deep hole to get undug.
Mm, mm,
So I can test the energy, like that's probably a no, because that person's really not doing a lot to manifest the probability of that. They're
mm.
manifesting it not happening and staying right where they are.
Yeah, I've often wondered that myself, how much of it is predestined. If we think about, okay, before we decide to incarnate, we sit with our soul group, we have a chat with our guides, we say, okay, well, all right, I'll give it a shot. I'll go to Earth, I'll go to the toughest school in the galaxy, let's go there, let's do this. Okay, what's my mission? It's a bit like Mission Impossible, isn't it? Okay, here's your mission, off you go, toodaloo, see you when you come back. How much of that is like, okay, well, my mission is to be Nelson Mandela, or my mission is to be Adolf Hitler, or my mission is to be Joe Schmo that works in the butcher's shop as and just has a wife and kids and a pretty normal plain life and saves his superannuation and goes on holidays and pops his clogs at 80. How much of that is predestined? How much of that can we change? Because we have free will, right?
Yeah. So the future trajectories, testing the probability of those, and then talking about someone's pre-life destiny are kind of like two separate subjects. And so the pre-life destiny thing, I can zoom in on that too. I can zoom in on what people's purpose was for incarnating into this lifetime. I call it doing a deep dive reading. So we do a deep dive, and then I delve deeper into their past and deeper, all the way back to their pre-life meetings, and find out what was the purpose of them having this particular situation happen 15 years ago. How does it relate to today? Why did that happen to them? And what's their purpose? So I can put it all together and kind of get like an outline of their whole life for them, the hows, whens, and whys of things. And that is, I'd say, well, the spirit guides that help us design our lives, they know the probable outcomes of those lives before they give them to us as the purpose. And we know the lessons we're probably going to be learning. And so, like, a lot of that is ingrained into our subconscious. When you meet this person on this street, on this day, in this year, that's the person you're going to end up marrying. So then when we're doing our life and we go along, we're like, whoa, who was that? Because we have a pre-life soul contract that's a red flag item. But we ingrain red flag items into our lives. Are you familiar with Michael Newton's books, Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls?
No, I'm not.
Oh my God, I call those How to Be Human for Dummies. You gotta read them. They're unbelievable.
I
They're
love that.
so good. Michael Newton interviewed over 20,000 people before he wrote his first book. And it's all about the pre-life planning and how it connects with the life down here. He put people under it's like the same thing. It's really similar to what Dolores Cannon does, but his work is, I think he started his work maybe about the same time as Dolores. I'm not sure if he was first or about they both doing about the same time. So my spirit guides led me to those books right after I said, who are these guys, the elders? And they're like, okay, read this book, read this book. And so you can see how, because of a high probability of certain things happening, I can see that people are following their outlines pretty well. For the most part, people follow their outlines and what they're supposed to do and what they want to accomplish. Most of the time, I really think that they do.
Yeah.
Most of the time get there. And then there's a deviation, but I don't. And then the elders are saying, well, sometimes it's left open-ended. Like every single move in your whole life is not destined ahead of time. It's like, we're going to get you this far and then you're going to decide the rest.
Right.
So like they'll do that a lot of times, or like your husband's going to die when you're between 40 and 50. High likelihood that you're going to be here longer than your husband in this lifetime because you're balancing out what you guys did in that other lifetime. And so you're going to be the one that's going to stay, and it's going to help you really get into your innermost connection with source. You're going to have this meditative years, blah, blah, blah. And so they go into the life and they know that's a probability that I'm going to be a widow. And that's why I chose this life, because I'm going to get what I need to get out of that in this lifetime. So there's high probabilities of these different things. And so we kind of go with the pre-written script of the big picture things. Most of the time I feel like we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting when you see people who just have a life where they seem to be at the right place at the right time and fall into the lap of the right people for the right things.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm just like, destiny. That was so pre-planned. That was not by choice, or that was not by chance. Not by chance at all. The spirit guides are like, nudge, 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 push, 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 push. Make sure you guys are both here at the same day. And they like totally telepathically nudge us until we do certain things to make our paths cross with each other.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Fascinating. So just circling back a little bit now to talking about your training with the elders, which includes the physics of energy and law of attraction. We've touched on that. How do you explain these concepts, law of attraction and so forth, in a grounded way to clients who might be new to spiritual development?
I kind of just tell them that this is what it is, that their thoughts are physical things, and I'll give it to them in a physics sort of a way. Like, did you know that when you think this thought that's below a 5 in a negative realm, that your brain actually does different physical things to your body? And I'll say, did you know that when you think these higher thoughts, that your telomeres actually lengthen and create a longer life for you? Did you know you send out different hormones, that your thoughts control the hormones in your body, and that controls all this and this? So like I'll tell them the science of what they're doing to themselves with their thoughts and their health. And then they've got to start buying the physics of law of attraction in order to get further than that. If they don't buy the fact that their life, that what they're sending out is creating these reactions with these people back at them 24/7, then I'll just kind of simplify the message and just tell them something specific for their particular day and their particular issue and say, think this, and that'll keep your timing. And I'll explain to them that different thoughts have different timing. That if you're in a good mood, you're going to do stuff in a different way. You're going to make different decisions. And that's going to put you in a different place at a different time. And so I kind of tell them that, like, their physical actions and their physical thoughts will line up with different dominoes, with a different set of dominoes.
Wow.
And that they want to create the best timing. And I teach them about their flow, being in the flow or not being in your flow. We work with that a lot, with how to tell if you're in your flow or not, so that when you're in your flow, your manifestations do come as easily as possible. And that your timing is on every day. Your timing's perfect. So I teach them to work with that and to work with their intuition that they normally use every day without having to put it into words or terms of the science of law of attraction. I'll just put it in terms of your gut is telling you this. Listen to your intuition on this. You'll get a little feeling. I also tell them to get in touch with their emotions. How do you feel when you think about that choice? If you're going to make that choice, does that make you feel like, ooh, I don't think I should do that? Kind of twingy. Or do you feel like, yes, I should just go do that? I teach them to recognize those different levels of their consciousness. So I go to more of a consciousness training, I think, is what I'm doing now that I'm thinking through your question. At first, I drew a blank, but now it's all coming to me. That's what I do.
Do you find it different working with empaths as to people that are not so empathic? I ask that question because I find that
Yes.
empaths seem to take on everything. You feel everything, even if you don't watch TV, you don't watch news, you don't know because of your eyes and ears what's going on out there, and yet you wake up in the morning and you feel like you've been hit by a truck, only to find out later on that, this happened in the world or that happened in the world, and you're carrying this energy and this incredibly overwhelming emotion that doesn't belong to you. Do you work with people like that? Do you find them different to work with as to people that aren't really attuned to?
Well, it just becomes a different problem to work on for that day, because if it's pulling them out of alignment, then it's an issue. If they can be that way and it doesn't pull them out of alignment, then it's fine. So whatever's pulling them out of alignment is what we work on.
Right.
If it causes them to think negative emotions, or it causes them to have resistance on their path and feel exhausted from it, then we work on a way for it to we speed it back up again so that they can feel like they can flow again.
Okay. So, for those listening who sense that they have maybe intuitive gifts, or they feel unsure, or they're hesitant about unveiling, I guess, what's going on with their lives, what would be the first steps to safely and confidently awaking those feelings inside, those abilities, or how could you help them if they're feeling unsure or hesitant? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people feeling that way right now.
I think the first thing is to get there's a couple things that can really help. First thing, could get some training wheels, which can be like a deck of cards, so that they can work with some sign language symbols between them and who they want to speak with. And that's what I did. I have spent thousands of hours working with my tarot cards and my guides. Literally thousands of hours. And so, I find that really helps me tune to their frequency more and look at the answer. And so, a lot of people get up in the morning and they'll grab a card of the day, right? Or their message of the day, and they'll just grab one card out of their deck. And, that's a great way to start getting in touch with the other realm. I think just having nothing but just you can be really hard. So I just say, get in, get it. And then also working with somebody like me that's a psychic advisor that can help them correlate with what they think they're getting can really help gain their confidence. I just did a reading a couple hours ago with a woman that basically the whole reading, I confirmed everything that she thought she already knew. But she felt so much more confident after that half an hour. She's like, now I feel like I can go forward confidently onto this path of my future that I was going to take, but I didn't know if I should take it. And now I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'm getting to. That's exactly what I'm hearing. I'm feeling no dissonance on that trajectory. It feels really great for me. I think you should do it. And so that can really help. Just having a friend help you out. Also, the elders are saying your friends. If you ask your friends things, your friends will know so much about you that you don't realize they're getting intuitively. Your friends will know if that guy's the right guy for you
Mm,
before you get married to him. Your
mm,
friends know. They know
yeah,
if it's the right guy or the wrong guy. And
yeah.
so that can really help too, being a tuner, saying, no, what are you guys getting intuitively about this new guy I'm seeing? What do you think? You know, that can help correlate. So getting correlations in the physical realm, and
Mm,
then working with any kind of tool that can give you a confirmational feedback that you can get the download in your mind or see the picture if you're clairvoyant. And then you can have a physical tool that's saying the same answer. That really helps tune my abilities. And then they're also saying, and then read other people. Do readings for other people. Say, hey, I want to test out my abilities. Ask me a question and I'll see what I get for an answer for you. It used to take me like 10 minutes to read one card.
yeah.
And I also recommend getting a deck that has an instructional book with it that talks about what the cards mean.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't go anywhere without my book as well as my deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the elders are telling me to look up this card, and I'll look it up because they want to use it in a new way. And so the meanings that they have defined for my tarot deck cards over the years have been infinite. They can come up with a symbolism for absolutely freaking anything with these
Mm.
80 cards. It's unbelievable how many layers. So they'll use the words in the meaning of the book, and it won't even have anything to do with what the card means, but it'll just be one sentence in this page of words that they want me to use. They want me to use that and have that be the answer
Yeah.
for that day. So as many ways as you can. I also recommend just getting a deck of playing cards and writing words on yes, no, maybe. You're really far off with that one. Maybe, but kind of. I think you're getting closer. Like any kind of answer you can think of, and put them all in a regular playing card deck. And then
Yeah.
shuffle them, ask your question to your guide and say, should I go to work today? Start with easy answers. To test yourself, you can start with easy answers that you totally know the answer on as well. That's another thing. Start with really simple things. Intuit. Should I get out of bed and do my day today, or should I stay in bed all day and call in sick to work? You're going to know instantly what the answer is to that. So that's how to get in touch with your higher self. Your higher self's answer will always be instant. He or she will answer you, bam, faster than you could think your own thought. And I test my clients, but I'll say, okay, after this session, I'll test you. Okay, after this session, do you think that you should go directly to the airport, not talk to anybody on the way, don't tell anybody where you're going, buy a plane ticket to South Africa and stay for about a month and not tell anybody where you are, just go completely off grid? Yes or no?
Me?
Yep,
No.
exactly. Exactly. That's a no for you. Right. You're like, no, I'm not going to go do that. No. And you knew, like, when I was just starting to say the description, you already knew, that's a no. And so that's what I do is I'll have my clients start with easy things. Ask yourself the question, should I brush my teeth right now, or should I skip brushing my teeth? Your higher self will say yes or no
Mm.
to any thought you think. So just start
That's
a
true.
conversation with your higher self through that. And then you can gradually work to harder decisions.
Thank you. There's a lot of excellent advice there for people that are just curious and wanting to start out on this path, and it helps them to understand a lot more how you work as well. Holly, just before we finish up today, it's been extraordinary conversation with you. I always ask my guests this one question. If you had one message for the world right now, what would it be?
It would be that they need to recognize that we are all the same soul. We are all slices of the same oversoul, which is source. So what you do to anyone else on the planet, you're doing to yourself just as much as them. And when you die, you feel all that.
Yeah. And that's Judgment Day.
Yeah, and so you will understand that when you die. So you might as well get it now, because it would make the planet an incredibly different place if we actually treated each other that way.
Yeah. That's a beautiful message and a very, very profoundly wise one. Holly Burns, thank you so much for your time today. Holly Burns Psychic, as you're better known. Thank you so much for your time, your wisdom, your knowledge, and your guidance. It has been absolutely extraordinary to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
It was wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Bye for now, Holly.
Bye.
Thank you for being here and for listening to Enlightened Connections. I hope today's conversation offered you insight, reflection, or a deeper sense of connection. If this episode resonated, please follow or subscribe and share it with someone who may benefit. You can also join me inside the Enlightened Connections Facebook community. I'd love to welcome you there. Until next time, take gentle care, stay connected, and trust the whispers.